Well, looks like we've now gone back in time in 2014 after all, because yes, we're now going to be playing through the original Mario Kart 8 for the Nintendo Wii U version, so just want to classify that right away, so yeah. Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, I'm Sonic the Hedgehog here, and I'm Sylvester the Cat here. We are back for some more yet again for the likes of the Muxy Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Let's Play of Mario Kart 8 / Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the Nintendo Wii U / Nintendo Switch. So, yesterday we've managed to able to showcase off some of these menu extras and all that stuff. In addition to those, we also managed to showcase off the time trials as well as the forms of what else? The versus races and all that, or what have you. So today for this episode is that, obviously, as you can see on screen, we're now going to be playing through Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. Because of this, well, we'll discuss more on that later because, I mean, it's nothing to be bragging rights or anything like that, but look at the menu design. It looks a little bit, I don't know, jumbled up mess as far as I'm aware. Although, don't get me wrong, the game itself still sold well on the Nintendo Wii U back then. In fact, it's still on the top list, on the top one, in, the best-selling Wii U games ever made. I mean, usually you get the thing about it, like, you know the forms of the online, online mode slots? It's now in, like, separate slots, rather than just on the actual combined into one particular slot. Whilst the forms of multiplayer might be still left intact, so even then though, as far as online is concerned, it feels a little bit more like a jigsaw puzzle almost. And, well, we still managed to able to actually access to Mario Kart TV on the Wii U version, and there's also the shop menu, which this allows you to download some DLC stuff on the forms of the Wii U version of the game, such as the 6 playable characters, in addition with, 4 cups in between, as well as 16 more brand new tracks as far as I'm aware. In addition with those is that we also got ourselves the customizable, cards and all that stuff. And as you can see on this error code, there is actually a Miiverse function on this game though, but since after all we're still on 2019, we can no longer use that Miiverse because otherwise though, it'll be not function very well. So even then, because basically what you can get in this particular version of the game, as opposed to on the Switch, is that you get yourself some stamps, which you can able to allow to use them for, specifically for, sending stuff onto your Miiverse, but that again is now discontinued. So, and as you can tell right there, we still get ourselves our play status report, as well as the forms of the amiibo functionality, which, as you can see on screen, unlike the Switch version, that we're simply able to get ourselves every single costumes, whilst in the Wii U version, we don't simply get that much in terms of the actual alternative costumes, as you can see right there. Mind you, because it's been 4 years since we last touched upon this game on the Wii U, because as a result of this kind of stuff back in 2015, we didn't get that much amiibos back in the day, apart from, Mario, Luigi, Donkey Kong, and Yoshi, because, well, obviously because we most likely stick with the forms of new releases for that time, like Mario Party 10 and stuff like that. So, yeah, you probably get the idea. So the main treatment for this video today is that we're going to be showcasing off the battle mode in the Wii U version of the game. Now, as you can see on the character roster selection screen is that, if you can't tell already, that the reason why the exclamation marks was still there on the actual DLC characters and all that stuff, the reason being for that is because, well, we weren't going to able to actually unlock these things straight away when we get back into this version, but still our memory storage is almost going to be running low in our Wii U, because if you couldn't tell already that we are simply playing this on the white basic set Wii U, which it might not be that much in terms of the actual memory units or something like that, so, but even then though, Sylvester, regardless of such, we're gonna have to showcase off anyway, so, as you can tell on the character roster screen, that we're actually missing quite a few players, such as, well, Inkling Girl and Inkling Boy, as well as, King Boo, and as well as Gold Mario, Bowser Jr., and Dry Bones is not in this game on the Wii U version of the game. So expect it to be a little bit more behind when it comes to the character roster. So, and also that with the actual 3 option selection before you start the race up, these aren't here either because, well, basically because of how the fact that, well, it's hard to explain about this sometimes though, because it's been you know, a very, very long time since we actually touched upon the Wii U version of the game, because we're more used to with the Switch version now, just because of the forms of much more better features, and as well as, you know, it's had a lot more fun to play through. Well, don't get me wrong, we enjoyed it back in the day on the Wii U version, but there's one little critical problem with this is, and we'll show that until right now for the sake of this video. And let's go ahead and set into no teams and frantic mode on items, and as well as computer players on hard mode, and we'll choose the courses, and we'll go for a minimum up to 8 rounds, so that way we can show off all 8 tracks, or in this case, for this matter though, the battle courses, how this thing actually offers. And also we set the timer to 3 minutes, and this is what you can get in the battle mode in this game, in addition to being, you know, just strictly onto balloon battle. In this case, in this particular version of battle mode in Mario Kart 8, it usually takes place entirely off the racetracks themselves, which, even then though, some people seem to find is a little bit of a disappointing aspect on the Wii U version, which thankfully on the Switch version, it did manage to able to go back into its traditional style, which, then again, we'll point things out until next weekend or something like that, because even then though, we're just only going to be showing off this particular part itself goes. So, yeah, as we mentioned this before, this entirely takes place in balloon battle, as you can see right there. And as I mentioned this before already, that, oh my god, it is so weird playing this now on the Wii U, because, well, as you can see on screen, we no longer have a double item slot. Instead, we need to carry 1 item at a time, just like the forms of how it does it on the previous Mario Kart game since the very beginning. And second is the fact that, you know, with, to be more specifically with the forms of using the actual GameCube controller on the Nintendo Switch version, the only controller we can only use at the moment, which is actually by the forms of the Wii U Pro controller at this point, which I will say, it is comfortable though, especially because we haven't used the Wii U since, you know, since Duffy has recently finished up with Yoshi's Woolly World back in June and October, around the same month as when Super Mario Galaxy 2 Let's Play has been finished. Yeah, I think that's probably true for that regard. So, yeah, basically, it kind of reminds me of this particular sequence, or in this case, there's that particular, you know, when you're trying to deal out with the battle mode, when you're trying to drive around in the actual track, it kind of reminds me of that particular battle modes in the forms of, let's just say in Toy Story Racer on the PlayStation, where basically, normally you do with certain battle roles by simply going to go through the battle courses and all that stuff. Now, on the battle tracks, these aren't too bad, but when you're trying to do on the race tracks to begin with, it just makes me feel like, you know, kind of slog to go through. Well, we still haven't owned that game yet, but I just want to point things out with the actual reference to the actual PlayStation game, which is, of course, Toy Story Racer, alongside with, the Sega Saturn's Sonic R, you know, with the actual tag modes and all that stuff, where you have to tag everyone. Well, because it basically plays out exactly a similar thing as from this, except, well, it plays more accurately like a balloon battle more than just like tagging through somebody. So, you can also just manage to able to drive around in the reverse mode or something like that, which this is before when, you know, when Mario Kart Tour was a thing, if you're trying to able to go for the actual stage backwards and all that stuff, which, you know, it's pretty cool stuff though, really. But what makes this a huge disappointing aspect on this version compared to the forms of the superior version, which is of course Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, is that, well, obviously they only contains race courses from the actual game, like the actual Mario Kart game itself, and rather than just adding the forms of multiple battle modes and all that stuff, instead it was just only mainly the balloon battle, most likely, because even then, I can definitely tell why that the Wii U version didn't sell that well compared to the forms of how it does it on the Switch right now, probably because of how the fact that most people seem to really enjoy, and we just got wrecked at the very end, right there, by the forms of out of nowhere green shells, which we'll point things out whenever we get to the next round. So even then, because that again though, because it's been such a long while since we actually did manage to able to coming back onto the Wii U version of Mario Kart 8. Because, you know, the Wii U is basically dead at this rate, and also the loading times might take a little bit longer in comparison to the forms of how it does it on the Switch version now. So, Yeah, at least to be more specifically though, Sylvester, is when you get the game physically. Because I'm pretty sure if you download this on the Wii U or something like that, it managed to reduce the actual time for the actual loading times. But either way though, we'll point things out whenever we give my final thoughts of it though. So here we go with the next battle, or in this case the actual racetrack that we can do with the battle mode. And whoa, what the hell, man? We just got wrecked. Alright, so let's go and toss the fireballs at us, or just from behind, and hopefully we could able to grab the what the hell, man? Wow, that is the most shortest round we've ever encountered. And we're off by 1 point from Toad. So, okay, that comes off as quite random. I'm not gonna lie for saying that. But anyways, though, yeah, I guess we'll move on to the next course, which is Donut Plains 3. So, yeah, I know for the fact that I know it's kind of, I hate to say boring, but it's just that hopefully until next weekend, until specifically the final day of November, we can definitely guarantee we can able to have a lot of fun times on the Switch version of Battle Mode, which even then, we'll point things out until, you know, next weekend, because at the moment right now, that tomorrow, that Mario might actually still get back onto, you know, Super Mario Odyssey tomorrow. So even then, though, because he'll definitely need to finish that Let's Play up before whenever we get onto the redo Let's Play of Super Mario Sunshine next year. And maybe eventually that they're actually going to be revealing the next 3D Mario game at some point in the future. So, speaking of which, actually, Sonic, yes, Sylvester, do you remember about the fact that recently we got ourselves Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel this year? Yeah, what about it? Well, according to the actual rumors about the forms of the next Crash Bandicoot game might be announced at some point. Specifically, the game calls it Crash Bandicoot Worlds, which I think it's like, it's kind of like the similar name as in the forms of the cancelled Crash Bandicoot game back in the past. But usually kind of thinking about it though, I really don't know just yet though about that game though, because maybe seems pretty interesting though, because either way though, we'll find things out until at the very end of the year though. We'll just say that right now. Yeah, it's probably best to wait for it though, because it's a bit too early to predict right about now, but it looks very promising though, kind of thing about it, because even then, that Crash Bandicoot Worlds game was actually originally as opposed to the actual exactly the same name as when, you know, the console game has been usually calls it that back then. But, who knows, we're able to actually see that particular game revived or something like that. But then again, Sylvester, we have to wait and see what happens in the future, so... But anyways, though, because today's day is the forms of, the 24th of November today, in this case in 2019, so there's not much going on at the moment when it comes to news, updates, or anything like that, I'm afraid, apart from the fact that, well, usually we're pretty much almost nearly towards the end of Mario Kart 8 Let's Play so far, because, well, after we've gone through the battle mode on the Wii U version, then we can able to go back into the Switch version, so that way we can able to show you guys off with the actual superior battle matches and all that stuff, which should be a lot more fun than ever, because either way though, that those of you could tell on the actual the map display was actually full-on blue as opposed to pure grey and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure because of the actual color of the blue of the map actually matches the actual representing with you know, the Wii U as in the blue U kind of color. Whilst the forms of specifically the original Mario Kart 8 does manage to have ourselves. I think this version does have some slight differences here and there as well, I think, compared to the forms of the Wii U version and the Switch version, is that, well, for one obvious reason is the fact that obviously the battle mode is a little bit different, and second, the main menu is a little bit different in design, or in this case, the actual design of the main menu is different. And also, same applies for, as you probably dealt it by now, is the fact that the actual map itself is now in blue. And also, during the battle mode, compared to the forms of the Switch version, is that the actual time limit was actually on the bottom right corner, which is a little bit odd to able to place that in here. And also, that the missing, features, like, for instance, missing characters and all that stuff, as well as, you know, the lack of double item system, which, you know, because there was no double item boxes during the actual races themselves, unlike the Switch version. So, And finally, perhaps the most notable thing about this version compared to the forms of the, the Switch version in general is that, well, obviously, that luckily for you, if you're trying to able to play online with your friends and all that stuff, and during the forms of some online races and all that stuff, well, you don't need to pay for about extra money into able to actually access to playing online mode on the Wii U version of the game, luckily, because unlike, the Switch version does require you to utilize the Nintendo Switch online membership services, so even then, though, that might be some consumption. So, and obviously, if you couldn't tell right there, is the fact that you start the actual battle off with simply able to go ourselves 3 balloons, just like how it does in the previous games. However, though, the biggest main factor about this is that I think we got 3 points to start off with, which is a bit odd, because I keep on used to the forms of the Switch version, because in the Switch version, basically, that you get like 0 points to start off with, and then you rank up more if you're trying to able to actually utilize items to able to deal with more damage on any other opponents. But that's not the case on the forms of, although still is the case for able to deal with, adding some more points if you're trying to attack more opponents with. But unfortunately, though, because of how the fact that it usually takes place on the racetracks themselves, so there's going to be some rare occasions where basically, as you can tell from the map, that I'm expecting if everyone else is going to go all around the actual track. But then every once in a while, though, if you get close to them, they decide to turn around for a bit and decide to turn back. This means you have to find another way to able to actually just to get them. So that can be pretty tedious, though, if you really want to rank up your more points and all that stuff. But then again, though, because that would be the actual most annoying thing ever in the world. But I'm just a little bit too, I'm really sorry about the forms of able to actually being so criticism with the forms of this version of the actual battle mode. Well, to be more specifically, Balloon Battle, because, well, apart from everything else, though, that's all there is to know, because even then, though, I will say, though, that I'm actually not a big fan of the Wii U version's battle mode, unfortunately, for you guys out there, because, well, I like it as to make things a little bit different, because it takes place on the racetracks themselves. But however, though, to me, though, is the fact that just simply just managed to able to actually make the positive aspects about this mode really ends, because apart from everything else, though, I'm just not a big fan of it, because I like the Switch version, which I'm really into right now, and then that way I can able to enjoy multitude of matches. It doesn't matter if it's either single player or just multiplayer aspect, then we can able to actually enjoy battle mode even more, just because it actually had more variety in them. So, and obviously because of the forms of the courses selection that you can get access to on the battle mode on the Wii U version of the game in Mario Kart 8, that the only tracks you can get into, which are basically 2 new tracks as well as 6 retro tracks for some reason, which we'll point things out with the actual list as soon as we get that later down the road. But I'm pretty sure enough, though, that might be far from the case, though. So, I believe the only tracks that does not make an appearance on the forms of battle mode, which is, I think it's pretty obvious, is Rainbow Road, because that particular courses or even tracks out there is actually completely filled with bottomless pit, and plus there is no way we can do the reverse version, because otherwise, though, that it just may not make it happen. So, but you get the idea for that solution. So let's talk about the actual emphasis on the forms of this, though, and that is, of course, these green shells. My god, the green shells in this version of the game. Now, in comparison to the Switch version, I don't seem to have that much issues in terms of, the green shells ownage and all that stuff sometimes. But for me, the Wii U version of the actual green shells in this game, oh my goodness gracious me, it will be very annoying, because even then, or even in this case, much more annoying than the forms of the blue shells in the entire game, actually, because most of the time, if I was going to be able to play this in our own time, specifically in Grand Prix matches and all that stuff, just to try to get ourselves the 3-star ranking, because yes, unlike the Switch version where I simply managed to able to go ahead and just get ourselves, all the star rankings in every single cup, it doesn't matter which class I was in, well, aside from going back into 200cc on the Switch version, Sonic. Oh yeah, because, I don't know if there's any unlockables on that stuff, which I'll point things out on my own time. So, yeah, those other tracks are Moo Moo Meadows, Dry Dry Desert, Donut Plains 3, as well as Toad's Turnpike, as well as, you know, Sherbet Land from Mario Kart Double Dash, and Yoshi Valley from Mario Kart 64, and also Mario Circuit and Toad Harbour from, obviously, from Mario Kart 8. So that's the only track selections that we can able to choose from, you know, specifically the Wii U version of Mario Kart 8, because we keep saying that because, well, this is the only footage you can able to actually solve at this point, so... And thanks to the forms of the map feature, which I think back in day 1 though, they just, for whatever reason, they just managed to able to took away the actual map feature during the day 1 release of the Wii U version of the game, which is a little bit annoying, because if you do not know where the track layout's supposed to be, well, luckily though, if you manage to use the Wii U gamepad, at least you can able to see the second screen, so that way you can able to interact with the map and everything. But unfortunately though, is the fact that, well, if you want to see it on the TV screen, well, you can't able to see that unless if you update the actual software, which, luckily, unlike the forms of other Nintendo Wii U games that it does manage to go ourselves save data corruptions and all that stuff, alongside with specifically Nintendo Land, Super Mario 3D World, which it will be a nightmare because I need to restart that particular game again, including going back into Champions Road, sadly. Oh yeah, we still remember that atrocious hardest level in the entire 3D Mario games. Yeah, I still remember that too, but even then, we've already done that Let's Play, so that really does matter to me though. Yeah, same here. So even then though, what else is got themselves the actual save data corruptions? Oh yeah, New Super Mario Bros. U and New Super Luigi U and Sonic Lost World, Mario and Sonic at the Sochi 2014 Olympic Winter Games, and also same applies for I would classify for saying probably Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U. Because of that, I'm just getting sick of the forms of going back all the way to the very beginning of the actual save data, and as a result, I lost my progress. But luckily, in our copy of Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U version, alongside with Mario Party 10, and even some other Wii U games that we still got to our collection, thankfully though, the actual save data does not corrupt it at all, well, apart from the actual DLC content, specifically, you know, with the DLC pack number 1 and DLC pack 2, that's the only things that has got even corrupted by this point. So, but luckily we did manage to re-download those DLC packs again. Although this is the reason why it took quite a while to able to actually get onto the actual uploading schedules for this, because obviously because of the fact that we need to re-download our DLC content, specifically in this particular version of the game, as you can see. So yeah, that's all there is to know. Son of a... I hate green shells in this version of the game. I seriously do, because, well, if the annoying thing about this is that every time whenever we play this on our own time, well, I remember whenever we did done this Let's Play originally back in 2014, but then delayed that in 2015 due to the actual DLC packs and all that stuff has just arrived. And then eventually at this point, whenever we continued that particular Let's Play of Mario Kart 8, we got so wrecked by so many green shells. It doesn't matter what modes we in, or even cups where we in. Specifically, the green shells, to me though, are the worst items in this version of the game, because no matter what though, to me though, they are literally annoying compared to the forms of the blue shells, or even red shells as a result, because sometimes they come out of nowhere, and plus you easily get yourselves wrecked by it. And second, every time whenever we get wrecked by green shells all the time, doesn't matter which angle they obviously go to. And then, no matter what though, if we were expecting to deal with yeah, you see that right there, that come out of nowhere, that just like, always aggravates me, which every time I just get wrecked by green shells, I just almost got rage quit, because even then though, because I even remember back in 2015, I believe, well, despite the fact with the original Let's Play of Mario Kart 8 Let's Play is no longer there, but I'm just making a point about the fact that how irritating the green shells are in this game, because then again, that you instantly able to do not know where the green shells are coming at, and as well as to top it all off is the fact that every time, you know, if you're really expecting to able to doing so well in certain racetracks, but then again though, you instantly gonna get yourself screwed over just because of the green shells ownage, which I will say this right now, Well, in terms of the actual game itself, though, is that the green shells are the worst items for this game to me, though, because, well, I just simply keep on getting wrecked by them from out of nowhere. In fact, it's actually kind of luck-based kind of thing about it, though, but I'm just probably pointing things out for the actual criticism about that item. Although, don't get me wrong, though, the green shell is very self-explanatory for most of the Mario Kart games, including, you know, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and all that stuff, but similar issue as for right now, that also happened to me, though, whenever when green shells managed to give me some massive ownage to me in my own time playing through Mario Kart Tour recently. So, yeah, speaking of Mario Kart Tour, actually, we'll discuss about the forms of, well, we haven't discussed about the forms of the bad thing about Winter Tour so far, which I don't think we discussed that since yesterday, didn't we? I don't think so, so I think we should probably get this out of the way right now. For the most part, we got ourselves, oh, son of a, I hate green shells. I just wish they will just, thankfully it's been balanced on the Switch version, I think, because, well, no matter what, though, they just always come out of nowhere. I mean, I was gonna look behind, but it's just that I never know if the green shells are coming either behind, diagonal, or just, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, because even then, it's just that, that one item that just gives me a hard time by just getting wrecked by these things. Anyways, let's move on to the last round, which takes place in Yoshi Valley, which, hopefully it won't be that annoying, it won't be that much of an annoyance than the likes of how it does on these previous tracks for sure. If I kind of think about it though, yeah, we'll discuss on the forms of the bad thing about the Winter Tour so far in Mario Kart Tour. Well, obviously we got ourselves the new version of Mario, specifically based off from Super Mario Odyssey from the forms of Santa Mario, which is a perfect choice, but at the same time though, that again, because of microtransactions usually comes in, and as a result of this kind of stuff though, is the fact that, well, it does manage to perfectly fit very well for Santa Mario to be on the Winter Tour, because, you know, Christmas is getting closer and all that stuff. In fact, I think we actually got about 31 days to go, or something like that. I think it's like 31 days to go, or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's more accurately 31. I think you might be correct on that one. Oh yeah, because of, you know, for November, we normally go ourselves 30 days and stuff like that, whilst compared to December, we actually get ourselves about 31 days because of the New Year's Eve coming up, as well as the forms of the very beginning of 2020 for, specifically, January the 1st. So, yeah, you probably get the idea for that. So, yeah, let's talk about the forms of something else entirely from Mario Kart Tour. Another one of these characters they did add in is another color for, you know, for Shy Guy as a playable character, which apparently appears to be the Black Shy Guy of all things. And also, as you can see on screen, we did manage to steal one of these opponents' balloons. You know, very similar to the forms of how it does it on the previous Mario Kart games past, that specifically ever since in Mario Kart DS, as well as Mario Kart Wii, and I believe Mario Kart 7 as well. Basically, you can able to utilize the mushrooms to able to steal everyone else's balloons. So, you can at least do that. So, that's a perfect deal for that specific in my book. And, yeah, that's about it, basically. And for Black Shy Guy in Mario Kart Tour, unfortunately, that is a separate character, rather than just, like, customizing, changing colors, particular character and stuff like that, unlike the ones in this game. But the worst aspect of the forms of the Winter Tour though, and I'm sadly to tell you about this, including Nathaniel Bandy, which he's always become one of those popular YouTube channels out there. Unfortunately, Pink Gold Peach is back. Oh my goodness gracious. Why Pink Gold Peach managed to make her return after, you know, 2 whole years since her absence, ever since in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, or in this case, in this matter though, Mario Sports Superstars. Well, I hate to tell you for this point, Sylvester, I have no idea why Pink Gold Peach managed to make her comeback after all these years. Well, to be more specifically though, it was actually 2 years ago since, you know, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, as well as, you know, Mario Sports Superstars, and yeah, I'm just pretty mad to see, like, even then though, still, I'm not a big fan of Pink Gold Peach. Personally, I prefer, like, Metal Mario, because Metal Mario was a thing, after all, because of Super Mario 64 power-up and all that stuff. But, like, I don't care. I don't care if Pink Gold Peach is coming back. No, I'm probably not gonna get her in Mario Kart Tour, because it's... Luckily, though, it's, like, higher-end rarity, because even then, though, that I'm probably not gonna get her, so... Regardless of such, though, the balloon battle is finished now on the Wii U version of Mario Kart 8. We got ourselves the exactly same trophy as the forms of the versus race mode. So there's nothing else details about it. So even then, let's go ahead and end things off here for this point right there. So join us next weekend for more of Let's Play of Mario Kart 8 / Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Is that we are now going to be coming back onto Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the Switch to show you guys the much more better battle mode and stuff like that. So yeah, see you guys next weekend. Yeah, later, fellas.